All right. Okay. So look, this is what we're gonna talk about. We got these two different food dishes. We have we have good breakfast and we have bad breakfast. Right. Now, I know this could be tricky because this here can be considered a smoothie bowl or an acai bowl, right? And what I think that we have on this plate here, we have some peanut butter. Okay. We have bananas. We have what seems to look like chia seeds, some granola, maybe some blueberries, might be some raspberries in there. I'm not sure what the white stuff is. Might look like some cinnamon. That might be coconut. We're not sure. It could just be protein, for all I know, right? Um, but I wanted to define this really quickly. And now we look at this here, which it says the bad breakfast, right? Quote unquote bad breakfast. And it's fried up. Although the macronutrients are less on this, right? We have 500 less calories, 40 grams protein, 6 sugar. This one over here, I know it's kind of blocking it a little bit. 34 grams of protein and 50 grams of sugar, but it's higher on the caloric intake. Now, do we know why it's higher on the caloric intake? So you see these two dishes. Most people would choose this one, right, as being healthy. What would you guys choose though? Like, on like for real? They both look good, but I'm actually gonna break this down even deeper to what we're looking at right here, because I want you to sort of understand food and what you're consuming on a daily basis for the most part. Because again, we're going off of a picture here, right? And looks could be deceiving. We don't know how this dish was made. This is kind of clear in a way. Just don't know what this is here. It could be protein though. We'll just say it's protein, right? But this is how tricky it can be though. There was a point where I used to literally abuse acai bowls. Like, yeah, acai bowls all day, but it's very high on sugar. However, we're not talking natural fructose from fruits and stuff like that, right? Like acai comes from a plant, of course. But this situation over here, it could be different. We don't know. So when you go somewhere and you buy this food, you would assume that they're making healthy choices in terms of like type of product that they purchase to give you a nice smoothie. What's up, Alice? How you been? I drink protein drink because I have no appetite in the morning. Yeah, that I know that looked like chia seeds. The white part though, I think it might be protein though. I can have eggs as a free option, but peanut butter is a no-go. I would say both. Okay, so check this out. Depending on how this is made, they can be healthy, right? They can be healthy. I wouldn't consider this too much of the bad, but it can be bad, right? Depending on what it is. Now, we're talking sausage. We have a sausage over here. This is still processed. It's still a processed meat, right? We have greens, which is phenomenal, which is great. Somebody help me what this is. What is this over here? What do you guys just think? Do I see tomatoes? What else do we see? I know we see eggs. We see it could be spinach. It could be kale. What do y'all see there? Mushrooms. I don't like mushrooms, but I guess ham. President, what's up, J. Marie? Love me some sausages. Pause. Bacon, right? Mushroom and spinach. Turkey bacon, right? When I first did this, I was saying it was turkey bacon. Okay, so let's say over here. Let's say if it's ham. First, I don't really eat too much ham. I'm not crazy about, like, I like the taste of ham, but just the food in itself, I don't go too crazy over ham or just regular bacon, right? So if this was to be regular bacon, I would be like, yes, this is probably not the greatest dish because of the bacon, right? But Also, what kind of oils you're using, right? Obviously, this is very low, 531, so there is not too much fat on this. But if we're talking about this in terms of caloric intake, what's going to be better for you, right? That all really depends on what you're eating for the rest of the day. Okay? So like if you're just going to eat one meal and this is what this is going to look like, and you already have trouble eating food throughout the day, right? Now you can get into intermittent fasting. This would be a good choice, right? I mean, I would probably reduce the sugar, and the sugar is really coming from, I'm not sure how they calculated this, but it can come from the granola. It can come from the banana as a natural fructose, right? It can come from the peanut butter, you know, and that's why it's probably on the higher side. If this was acai, it'll be even higher when it comes to the sugar intake. Yeah, I said coconut flakes too. I like to think it's coconut flakes. It's even better. And then this doesn't say carbs on it. I thought I had one that said carbs, man. That's why it took me a while to go live and talk about this. I could have sworn I had one that had carbs on it. But this dish here has more carbs than this dish does. Clearly, right? The granola and the banana, right? Now the peanut butter, let's say we're talking about the peanut butter. Here's the thing with peanut butter. Peanut butter is high on fat. This is generally why this is high on the calorie intake. There's a lot of carbs, there's a lot of fat because of the peanut butter, depending on how much they put in there. And then the granola is also considered a carbohydrate, right? I also say protein powder, so it all depends. It could most likely, honestly, Danielle, it most likely is protein powder. Like there's some protein in banana, some protein in peanut butter, a little bit in granola, but that's probably gonna have to be protein because I don't see any of that being that high. And then we have something here which I don't know what that is. But yeah. Oh, and aging. I'm not a fan of peanut butter, but I also can force myself to eat it. Yeah, but now when we're talking about peanut butter, well, let's put almond butter a part of this family as well. You know what I mean? Because this is important. For all the new people in here that are just watching this, I'm going to be extracting this video and posting it inside my private Facebook group. You are all invited so you can watch the replay. The link is on my bio. Fill out those questions. Make sure you have a profile picture. It's completely free. Come join us. Very educational, very inspirational, very motivational. Shout out to the replayers because this is going on Facebook, inside the group. Isn't bananas not the best for you as well? Now, that depends on the person. Bananas is very high on potassium. Bananas has a lot of vitamins. Now it depends on where you get your bananas. But then, when we're talking about bananas, like if you are diabetic, if you struggle with PCOS, if you struggle with hypothyroidism, then maybe the banana may not be the greatest thing for you as far as like how much you indulge, right? So this is where you gotta have to find your balance for the most part. And a lot of times when I hop on here and I'm talking to people, I let them know, hey, listen, yeah, New York accent. What is it you're struggling with? I have to understand what you're dealing with, because it's very easy for me to give somebody some advice over here, and it may not even be what they need because of they're struggling with a certain situation. You know, what's the fastest way to lose weight? How can I lose 20 pounds in 30 days? You know what I mean? So I like to ask questions. Star Soul, thank you for the follow. Why is it a bad one? So I covered that and I was talking about that. I'm still actually unpacking this. There's many different reasons. I was going by macronutrients over here, right? This is not even a full macro. This is just a protein, sugar, and calories. And I'm explaining why these things are where they are, you know? Now, we're not going to say that this is bacon, though, because if this was, again, well, it can be actually, because we don't have the other macronutrients, which is fats and carbs, right? We need to talk about fats and carbs when we're talking about macronutrients. Now, understand that it's not just about macros, ladies and gentlemen. Everything is different. Everyone is different when it comes to this journey, and what you're instilling in your body is all different, right? So let's just take this with a grain of salt. This is more so about understanding, right? To unpack these sort of meals over here and what's going on. So again, I explained why this is very high on the calorie side. And if you were to be someone who's doing intermittent fasting, or you're somebody who struggles with getting enough food in their body, or your day is too busy, intermittent fasting might be a good choice for you. You know, it's all relevant to sustainability and what makes sense for your lifestyle, right? Now, a lot of females that I work with, because I work with I coach one-on-one, mainly females, males as well. I'm not saying I don't, but right now at the moment I have mostly females. And one of the very prime issues that a lot of them have is eating more food. So what I have them do for the most part, the ones who like to listen to me, is to reverse diet. Okay, so they have to basically, we start with an average, find out what your average is, what exactly is that you're consuming on a daily basis. And if your average is 1200, which is honestly very low, that's what a toddler needs in order to survive, then you're under eating. You're under eating, right? So now you got to train yourself to reverse diet and eat a little more every week. So let's say your calorie deficit is 1800 or something, which is making an example, and you're only consuming 1200. I'm like, hey, listen, Veronica, I'm gonna use you as an example. I know you want to lose this weight and you want to work on body recomposition and you want to focus on certain areas. So I'm gonna need you to focus on this workout regimen, right? Let's say I'm designing a workout regimen, or if you're doing it on your own, focusing on certain places, focusing on time and attention, but also making sure that you're eating enough to supplement the goals that you want to acquire, right? So that all depends. Thank you for sharing the live. Everybody who just followed, I appreciate it. Now, so again, it's all about sustainability. Like, I won't sit here and tell you that one is better than the other, right? It all depends. It's all relevant to what your goals are. Now, the sugar, though, I would tell you it's still a little high, but most people eat way more than 50 grams of sugar on a daily basis. For a male, I would say they have to keep it under 40 grams, about 34 grams daily. And females under 30, 24, 25 grams daily when it comes to sugar intake. Now, you just want to be careful with it, because you get sugar from everywhere. You get sugar from, starchy foods like rice. You get it from bread. You get it from sauces. Sugar's in everything. Like, that is the crack. That's the nicotine in food. It's like, what? It don't have sugar? It doesn't taste good. And that's how you have been programmed in a way. We all have been programmed that way, because sugar is amazing. I talked about my son bringing this bread that they gave him at a pizza shop, and he rolled it up, and then he gives it to them, and they put it in the oven and they give it back to him, like when it's all cooled down. And I got a piece when he came back, and it was amazing. I was like, holy cow! Of course, it's sugar. Program and condition, absolutely, yes. Thank you for the follow, everyone. Michelle, Latrice, thank you. Coach Stacy Johnson, I appreciate you. So real quick, for the people who have been sticking around here from the beginning, are we understanding this over here? Just because it says good and bad does not mean that. What I'm doing here is taking these two dishes and I'm breaking them down for you in different manners. Now, if I wanted to decrease the calorie intake on this, all I really have to do is this is probably half of a banana. I probably cut this in half, eat less of the banana, less of the peanut butter, right? And maybe less of the granola. And now we're reducing some carbs. We're definitely reducing fats when it comes to this. Now, when we talk about peanut butter, now we get deeper now. I would count Skippy out. I will count Jif out. We want natural as possible peanut butter, right? I don't eat as much peanut butter as I used to, but Smucker's was a good brand, right? Anything when it has the liquids. I usually get this coconut peanut butter mix from Sprouts that I really like. But I like to measure how much peanut butter I'm consuming, because it's very easy to overconsume calories, right? Yeah, not Jiffy, not Jif. They ain't gonna like this. Can I still get a sponsor? Anyways, okay, so eggs. Now over here, here's the thing, because this, again, looks could be very deceiving. It looks like there's one egg here. One original egg is about 6 grams of protein. It's 3 on the yolk, 3 on the egg white. Really, it kind of varies. I'm going by an average, because you can have more than the other. Now, the yolk has mostly fat. I think it's about 6 grams of fat on average, we're going to say, right? Right? What else we got here? Protein, 6 grams. I know that's from there. We're getting some of this protein from the sausages and whatever this here, whether this is ham or something else. We don't know. But that's where the protein is mainly coming from for the most part, right? And the sugar, I would probably say that sugar is probably coming from this sausage. right? If they're counting it like that, right? So it all depends on everything that you're consuming. This is why it's important to look at packages. I craved after not even 2 weeks going to plant-based. Sincerely, Sheila, thank you for the follow. The artist sucker, thank you for the follow. For all the new people following, I'm gonna post a replay of this video inside my Facebook group. It's a private Facebook group. Many of my clients, many of my students are in there. I want to invite you to it. There's gonna be a link on this bio, on my bio profile. Just click there, answer those questions, make sure you have a profile picture, and you can join us. And I'm gonna be doing a lot of this, teaching this stuff. But obviously, I come on TikTok because we can get some good views and more people can learn. You know what I mean? Okay, so I'm gonna answer some questions too. What else we could talk about here? So the sugar intake, and we all know why this has this amount of sugar, and we know what we have to do to sort of decrease this. Right now, if this is the fat on this, they could have used oil. Right now, a tablespoon of any type of oil, coconut oil, olive oil, any oil, a tablespoon, is 14. I think it's 14 grams of fat, if I'm not mistaken, which amounts to 128 calories. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. So that's already counting. Let's say they used oil. So that's where the calories are going to be coming from. A lot of it could be from that. 6 is already from the eggs, and there's going to probably be some on the sausage, depending on what brand you're purchasing, right? When we're talking about healthy, right? Now this is where it gets tricky. I personally feel that healthy stuff, it's really relevant to what kind of products you have in these dishes, but also if you have a certain health concern, like I talked about earlier. Like, I wouldn't give somebody who has PCOS or diabetes this here, you know. Even though, I mean, depending on the person, they still have to consume some type of insulin. But I don't know if I would give that much banana or whatever. You know what I mean? I'll probably decrease it because this is just one. This is one dish, and we got to think about the rest of the day. If you're eating the rest of the day, and you're eating more than this, then we also have to factor this in. Like, okay, I just consumed 1,000 calories on this one acai bowl or whatever this is. This is just a smoothie bowl, right? Just an example. Keep in mind, just because I'm showing you this does not mean that when you get an acai bowl or smoothie bowl, this is what the numbers are going to be. Everything is different. Everything is different. Okay. To be honest with you, this number is a little misleading looking at this picture, just because I've been doing this for so long. Is that making sense? If this is making sense, press number 1. Shout out to the replayers. If you're watching the replay on Facebook, hashtag replay. I want to know who watched the replay. Just Chrissy, thank you for the follow. Isn't the banana resistant starch though? Yeah, I talked about a lot of this stuff. But the thing, like, I think things get very misleading with these topics. Like, people, this is my point of view, right? Somebody else might tell you something different. This is from stuff that I research, I read. I've been doing this for 18 years. It's part of what I do. I coach a bunch of people, so yeah, and I have nutrition in my team. I want to make sure that we're giving the people that we work with some quality and something that they can work with for the most part. So again, I wouldn't give anything too starchy for anybody who's sensitive to sugar, right? Like diabetics or PCOS, you know what I mean? Carbs, you got to be careful with that. Like carbs is not bad. It's just a lot of the refined carbs or the type of carbs you're consuming, the type of rice you might be consuming. The potatoes are very starchy. Sweet potato is still starchy, but it has a lot of fibers, you know? So the food industry could be very, very tricky. I just like to explain things to people, right? Just because you can literally dial everything down and make it unhealthy. But it's going to be better than some things that some of the stuff you guys are doing today. Like when someone tells me, oh, it's very hard for me to consume this amount of calories. If you pull up to Popeyes and Chick-fil-A and you order something, a big meal, it's going to be high. That one meal is going to be very high on calories. You know. You know why? You know the reason why eating is so complicated is because of the environment that we live in. It's a money thing now. So everything, there's so much people in this world. Like, think about it. Like, we have to preserve these foods. It's a tricky situation. It's a tricky situation. There's so many people and everybody has to be fed. So they got to do this in rapid speed. So it's a gift and a curse in a way, right? Our ancestors had to hunt for food. You want to talk fresh food? That was fresh. Fresh. Right? So it's tricky. You know what I mean? It can be very tricky. Do you solely count calories or do you count chemicals too? I mean, I'm not counting chemicals, but I am very aware of what's in there. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of the stuff that are in certain ingredients. And it just gets crazy, though. It's like, I think my personal opinion is change your way of eating. As far as like, if you're eating very unhealthy, just change your way of eating, make healthier choices, because you just never know. Everybody's different. Like, somebody could, I mean, we all have family members who's eating whatever they want and they lived a long life. You know, I don't want people to stress themselves out in a certain way, but also pay attention to your health. Like, if you have a certain health concern and it requires some type of change, then make some change, right? I had one of my clients who I started working with a few months ago, and her concern was, it was very big for her. She was like, I don't want to be the reason why I pass. Like, I want to know that I did something that, you know what I mean? I want to know that I did something for myself and for my family that didn't take me to a certain, you know what I mean? She didn't want to be like, damn, I could have changed these ways. Sometimes it's very hard. You know, I just want to keep it very honest. I know this kind of information can be very overwhelming, you know. So don't think that I'm over here like, oh my God, I'm looking at everything. I can't eat this. This is, you know, sometimes I do. I have a psoriasis issue and it gets crazy. So yeah, I can eat fairly well, but I can't stop eating ice cream. I mean, there's different alternatives to ice cream. Just, you got to be open to them. And they're going to have their issues as well, but it's probably going to be better. Because if you think about it, right, the problem is not the ice cream, I feel. I think the major problem there is the sugar, though. The amount of sugar. Because it's a mixture of fats. I'm here listening. Nah, you're good. Thank you. I appreciate you. It's a mixture of fats, mixture of carbs, and mixture of sugar. So, like, it's like a hook. So all this, when we talk about ice cream, is very high in calories and high in dairy, but it tastes amazing. It tastes amazing. You know. How many of y'all joined the Facebook group to watch this replay? You're very welcome. All right, let me see how long I've been here, because I might 26 minutes. All right, I might cut the video short when I post it in the Facebook group, since I'll go here and maybe answer some questions. What do you do for your psoriasis as far as food do you to decrease inflammation? So with my psoriasis, the first thing I started doing, though, I went on a carnivore diet. The carnivore diet turned into an elimination diet, and then I went to New York. I think that's what happened. So I know that I still have to take an allergy test, but I know that anything for me when it comes to psoriasis, anything very starchy it may flare me up. Peppers flare me up, like nightshades, eggplant, stuff like that would flare me up. What else? Definitely, if I eat candy or something like that, that would definitely flare me up. Like, that would be bad. Any type of sugar, any processed stuff usually does it for me too. What else? Apparently coffee does. But this is one of those things also that it depends on the person. You know, and this is why I want to do an actual allergy test to see what I'm allergic to. I already know there's going to be a long list of stuff on there. But I know when I was on that carnivore diet, my skin cleared up. It was clearing up. Yeah. I wouldn't say fruit is bad, man. And I talked about earlier about fruit. I'm down 20 pounds, but I've hit a wall and can't lose anymore. You've hit a plateau, BB. You've hit a plateau. How long have you been in this plateau? I mean, you can go the portion control route for sure. But then, do you know what portions you're actually consuming? You know, like, here's what I would honestly say. I think I said this earlier though. It's just finding out your average, like understanding your average, meaning your daily habits of your eating habits. Like, what time you kind of normally eat? What do you kind of normally eat? You know, how do you usually feel after doing something? Like, trying to pay attention to this stuff and like taking a log, because then you can kind of modify things for yourself. You don't have to go count calories all day long. You know, you just sort of like taking notes. I'm like, okay, I've been consuming this much. Maybe I should change this. I've been pulling up to McDonald's way too much. Or maybe you've been pulling up to this other place, Chipotle, which is owned by McDonald's, I think. Last time I checked. But things like that. Like, all right, I have to make different choices, healthier choices. But then understanding too, this is why I hop on these lives and I teach this stuff for free. So you guys can learn and take notes and understand and kind of take action and get curious and learn some more, you know. And then I invite you to the Facebook group. The link is on the bio. It's called Positive Mindset Challenge. Very educational, very inspirational, and very educational. If that makes sense. Absolutely. Sorry, y'all. I'm getting lost with these messages. Let me scroll up.